Moving on to policy vendor proposal.
If you recall Bob Castengren's report to the board from the WASB convention back in January, he reported in February. One of the vendors that he had stopped at was the Neola company. And he had passed their contact information on to me just to, basically do a follow-up on that. What Neola is basically a board policy company. And I invited the gentleman to come in. And the gentleman, who's actually relatively new to his position, is a retired superintendent who had actually been a user of the Neola piece. The advantage to Neola is that a couple of things. I think the first piece, and most importantly, is that they keep current with the policies. In other words, they have a legal team that monitors things and then sends out the revisions, both policy-wise, and then the board exhibits or the board guideline piece, or administrative rule piece as well. So that's number one. Number two, it frees up either the administrator that's in charge of policy revision because they're taking care of it for you. Third, if you invest in their process, there's legal backing from that company, from that company's law firm, or I should say legal team, because they feel their policies are so strong and consistent that they'll back it from a legal perspective. The other advantage from a local perspective is that there'd be continuity in our policies from Waterford grade up to Waterford High School, because the high school already has the service in place. So, yeah. So that basically is the roundabout. It would take a couple of years for implementation. The first year would be to go through policies, pick out the ones that we have to have, pick out the ones we'd like to have, and then go from there. The second year then would be the administrative rules / guideline part. Again, going through that whole process of looking at what we need, what we have to have, and what we would like to have. So after all that policy identification piece takes place, the other part is that they host it on a website, and we would just link up with our particular piece.
Okay.
So
I had to read that in there.
So the only thing I have with this one is, the majority of the school districts in the area do not.
I think you have Union Grove, you got Waterford High.
You have any of the other feeder districts, they're not Burlington. How about East Troy? Don't even have East Troy. See, the problem I have with this one here is we already did recommendations on WSB,
Yep.
what the policy should look like, so now we're paying a second company to tell us what a policy should look like. The majority of our policies were done and in place before they even came out with half these. So all they've done is taken everybody else's policies, refined them, and sold them back to districts that don't really want to do much. I don't think we need another cost or another one in place when most of our policies are done right now. Now going forward, do we envision a lot more policies? Very few.
I think the tricky piece is that, one of my goals for this year was to start reviewing policies based on the conversations that we had had. And we got through the 300s. So we still have the 400s all the way through the 900s yet to do. It's time consuming task.
It is.
So.
But there's not that many changes usually that come out when we have revised
No.
policies.
No.
Do you feel that there's any concerns about having something that's so cookie cutter that it won't fit our district? Or do you think this is kind of a catch-all that will, some of them that we had tonight, especially this private school, they would probably say it's not allowed, or not.
Well, they give you a baseline start from, and you modify it after that, so it's your policy anyways.
Right.
Okay, and then we're kind of.
So in the future,
And they can't guarantee it. If we go and change it, we're going against what they're suggesting,
I
so.
mean, I know at times it's going to be
Either-
but
Either we have to use it as they present it, or it really doesn't have an advantage for us.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know the board, or this board likes to exercise its discretion on some of those policy pieces, and that, going along with what Paul just said, that might be problematic from their legal backing standpoint, because they do provide the they provide the generic template with the opportunity to make some choices within some of that verbiage, but
And that was my gut reaction,
Yeah.
knowing that they could give us recommendations, but we would probably want to personalize it, so then we may need to consult with WASB or our legal counsel in order to do that anyway, so I'm not
That's
sure
true.
that it's worth
that's
the
true.
fees.
Big examples, the employee handbook, we had ours way before anybody in these other districts were doing it, well, under the NOLA thing. And WASB came out after us, and ours, we actually looked through it and heard, and we actually have a better refined book that they did. So,
I'd say if you wanted to move forward to choose a policy that may be of some concern, and just say, give us an example of what's wrong with this one. But I think I'm hearing that it's not worth pursuing at this time.
Right.
I could see if every feeder district and everybody in the area was using it, I'd say there's no reason why you wouldn't be doing it, to make things more cohesive.
The other question I would ask is, since the high school is using it, can you talk to Keith and ask him, do they use their policies cookie cutter, or do they modify them?
Awesome.
I think a cursory look at this, and we'll put on the agenda for next month, but I appreciate you looking into it.
Okay.